Hey guys, my name is Frank Dorov. Welcome in our studio in Emmeloord. In this small video in our digital classroom series, we look at a shot that I took during a workshop and how the heck did I shoot that? This is the image. Let's talk about how I shot it. Now, sometimes lighting can be really interesting. Sometimes lighting can be really boring. For me, lighting is something that's totally fluid. I don't believe in fixed lighting setups. But it doesn't mean that I don't follow a certain rule when setting up my lighting. For me, it's very important that it tells a story. And how can you tell a story with lighting? With lighting you can create something that looks a little bit dark, or you can create something that looks a little bit light. And you can create everything in between and also to the extremes. Now, for this setup we wanted something that really gave just a kiss of light on the backdrop and of course lit our model. But I didn't just want to light it from the side, because at that point you don't really get, for me, that natural, more film-like look. So in this case I'm using a small beauty dish with a grid, as you can see here. And we aimed it literally down on our model. By just slightly angling, you have total control about the lighting that hits your model, but also the lighting that hits the backdrop. Now, most light sources behave exactly the same way. If you use the center part, that's the most brightest part of that light source. But it's also the most harshest light. So if you want harsh shadows and you want more light output, you use the center part of your strobe. Now, if you want softer light quality, but also less output, that's when you start to use the sides of the light. Now think about this. Just take your iPhone or your smartphone, whatever you use, and turn on the light. And now aim that at the wall. The first thing you will see is that the center part is bright, and the more you move to the sides, the softer the light quality will get, but also the light output. Now don't confuse this with the inverse square law. The inverse square law dictates that light falls off over the distance. This is something completely different. Now I'm using this technique actually normally for example, feathering, where you don't want harsh light on your model, you don't want a lot of light on the backdrop. So what you do is you feather the light away from your model and just use the sides for ultra soft quality of light, very luscious light source. Now in this case I'm actually using it a different way. I'm still using the feathering technique, but not to get a nice soft quality of light on our model. I'm actually using the feathering technique to create more or less light on our backdrop. One of the big advantages of using it only with one light is that you don't work with two different angles. If you work with two different strobes and you change your position, you have two different angles to worry about. If you only use one strobe, most of the time it will look way more natural. If you want more light on the backdrop, you just aim your light slightly towards the backdrop. If you want less light on the backdrop, you probably guessed that you just move your light in the other way. As you can see, during the workshop we do several setups. This is only one of the setups, and actually a quite simple one. But it doesn't mean that a simple lighting setup is always, well, a simple lighting setup. This light setup can be pretty tricky, because you have to make sure that the light hits your model in the right position. So we don't want a lot of lighting on her chest, but we want the light on her face. Now she's also wearing a hat, which creates it a little bit more difficult, and that's actually why our model tilts up the chin just a little bit to make sure that you capture that light. Now if you struggle with lighting and you can't get the eyes to pop out, one of the tips I can give you is actually, and it sounds ridiculous, use sunglasses. They don't only look cool, but they also make sure that you don't have any problems with those raccoon eyes or those darker eyes. So if you like these shorter videos in which I explain how I did one of the sets in our workshop, and again during the workshops we do approximately 3 or 4 of those sets and much more complicated than this one, and hit the subscribe and of course the bell notification so you don't miss any new videos of us. Thank you so very much for watching guys, and see you again next time. Bye.